What's up guys, welcome back to CuriousChaos. You guys can call me Crimson, and about a month ago I asked here on a community post and on Instagram who you all thought are the ugliest Pokemon. There were a lot of interesting takes to say the least, but in the end it was evident who everyone thought was ugly. I gathered up the results, and here are the 4 most voted candidates that take the throne for the ugliest Pokemon. But before I reveal them, I have a question to ask you all. Show of hands, how many of you guys are artists and or gamers? Oh wow, that's almost all of you. Should have expected that one. Now, why am I asking this? Well, because there's a problem in our community that we should all be too familiar with. And that, friends, is posture. Finishing art pieces or immersing yourself into a game can easily cost you hours. It can be detrimental to our back and cause a lot of pain. But I have the solution, thanks to today's sponsor, FlexiSpot, the largest brand in auto-adjusting standing desks. They were kind enough to send me a desk of their newest series, and I went with the white top and white frame to match the white aesthetic of my room. But there are so many options to choose from various wooden tops like maple, oak, mahogany, and bamboo, to all sorts of styles, designs, and functionalities to customize it to your exact needs. Setting this up was incredibly easy, and for a monkey brain like me to set it up in less than 30 minutes says a lot. I've been using it for quite a while now, and it is a game changer. It comes with a built-in seamless drawer to store all your supplies and goods, and most importantly, the embedded multi-function control panel, which can easily adjust the height, preset your favorite heights, a child lock button, and can charge devices with its 3 USB ports, which personally comes in super handy when I'm drawing for hours on my tablet. I was initially worried this desk wouldn't even work for me as I'm 6'3", but FlexiSpot proved me wrong, and my back has significantly felt better and stronger. If you'd like to upgrade the look of your room or office, visit the link I've provided below in the description and beat bad posture in style. Alright, you guys have spoken, and the ugliest Pokemon according to your answers are Crabominable, Aromatisse, Enamorus, and Origin Form Palkia. Surprisingly enough, these 4 outvoted Jinx in terms of ugly Pokemon, but nonetheless, Jinx was also high up on the list, so let me know if you enjoyed this video by leaving a like, and I'll come back to tackle on 4 more uggos including Jinx and other Pokemon you find ugly, which you can let me know in the comments of this video. Also, a disclaimer, I'm in no way saying the original art designs are bad. In fact, they're very dear to me. I love Pokemon, so please don't take this video seriously. It's all just for fun. Alright, let's get started with redesigning. Which one should we start with? You know what, let's do Palkia. Let's get the hardest one out of the way first. So I think the biggest problem I saw people had with Origin Form Palkia were its proportions, specifically the upper body and how it just looked very tacked onto a horse. Centaurs also have this similar body structure, but they managed to pull it off pretty well. But Palkia just ends up looking strange, I guess is a good word for it. But then again, it's supposed to be strange. It's like a biblically accurate Palkia essentially, which aren't supposed to be understood by humans, so I don't want to entirely remove that. I've got to find a way to make it look confusing, but also cool at the same time. And I struggled with that in the beginning because at first it just looked like a fusion between Rapidash and Palkia. It had too much horse attributes. But I remembered the very heavy and imposing looking lower half of normal Palkia, and wanted to bring that back, along with exaggerating the biblically accurate part by lowering its torso down and giving it a long neck similar to a sauropod and maybe also the Loch Ness Monster, since Palkia is water type after all. Speaking of water, I wanted to add more of its pearls, eventually becoming pearl jewelry around its neck, body, and ankles. And lastly, I couldn't help myself from adding very unnecessary spacey flames coming off of it. Does it ruin the balance of looking cooler than Dialga's origin form? 100%. I probably shouldn't have added it, but what the heck, if I'm redesigning ugly Pokemon, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with it. And if anything, I can always redesign Dialga's form to bring balance. It also helps that Dialga's form was another highly commented opinion for ugly Pokemon, so let me know if you'd like to see that. Also, I didn't realize this till I finished, but I ended up making similar design decisions as Game Freak did with Palkia's origin form, with its front legs being way bigger than its hind legs. So I don't know, great minds think alike? Or maybe not, since people said it's one of the ugliest designs. Alright, let's try and fix our next Pokemon. Which should we do now? Let's go with Aromatisse. This is one that, despite many ugly votes, was getting heavily defended with comments saying, it deserves more love, so let's try helping it receive more love. Now, for this redesign, we're gonna bring it back to its roots. I know it's somewhat based on can-can dancers, and that's one thing that people said make it uncomfortable to look at, so we'll use its dex entries as starting points. All of them talk about its aroma attributes, which is what also ties them in with Plague Doctors, since it was common practice for them to fill their masks with perfume as to do away with the stinky. I also know a lot of people are disappointed that it's not Plague Doctor enough, so we'll try leaning more into that aspect. I added a feather hat to match the Plague Doctor costume, trying my best to keep it looking natural, as well as giving it long wings to match the robe look, which also doubles as being functional wings since, I get you don't have the flying typing, but you don't need that typing to fly. Regardless, I understand the look of it. It's supposed to look like one of those fuzzy perfume bottles and possibly a chick in a nest. We'll keep the fuzzy perfume idea and mix it with the staff that Plague Doctors had. I imagine it would use it to spray perfume like a mage staff. Aromatisse is a special attacker after all. I could have done a lot better, but it doesn't look too bad. I think it matches the line enough to not look out of place when I put it next to Spritzy. The staff was the hard part. It's already hard to give Pokemon objects or weapons without it looking unnatural. But I tried my best adding little feathers to match the wings on the Plague Doctor staff and turning the hourglass into a fur ball of perfume, since its dex entry says that the perfume comes from the fur. Is this the definitive Aromatisse redesign fixer? Certainly not. It's not the best at all, but I like its serious tone while being all pink and purple, and that contrast is what I like most about this design. Tell me what you would have done for this redesign in the comments. Next, we're going to draw our take on Enamorus. Let's get right to it. Alright, my first attempt at Enamorus was to make it a version that was faithful to the original 3. Things I noticed Enamorus didn't share with the brothers, apart from the mustache that I would also leave out, were 1. The strange mouth that she replaces with white lips, 2. The look of the tail that instead of swinging outward into the bottom front, wraps around the neck and stops at head level, and 3. The hair that loses its thick and fluffy look. I tried fixing these 3 issues, but in the end, I wasn't happy with it. It still looked ugly for a redesign that was supposed to fix the ugly. So I tried again, and realized Enamorus will always look ugly if you try to keep the same aspects the brothers have. So I took a different route, going for a little sister look that wants to be like her older brothers, but also wants to be her own thing. I decided to knock 2 birds with 1 stone, being the ugly mouth problem and the atrociously long neck it has because of the coils around it. I shrunk it down to 1 coil and brought it up to cover her mouth, which would solve my problem of designing it, and kept the tail still coming to the bottom front like the rest of the tails. For the hair, I originally went with curly hair that curves up into a heart with Landorus and Thundurus hair as inspiration, but I ultimately went with a heart-shaped ponytail that shares physics with the hair of Tornadus. One other thing I realized was that all the tails had some sort of protrusions on it, while Enamorus had a sleek tail with designs on it, so I added spikes on it to match the rest of the other tail protrusions. And when looking at the neck part, it looks like those edgy spiked bracelets that match the rebel little sister vibe I was going for. Oh man, I remember thinking I was so cool wearing those in middle school. Jeez. Alright, let's move on to our final redesign for this video. Okay, now Crabominable is a very, very cool concept. A Yeti crab with feet-shaped claws to make people think there's a Bigfoot monster around? That's awesome. The problem is, its claws just don't look right at all. My idea for it was to use its huge claws to walk on sort of like a handstand, so that its little legs wouldn't have to touch the floor and leave marks on the footprint trail. I also got rid of its goofy face and tried making it look cool while staying close to Crabrawler's face shape. But again, wasn't too happy with it. It's not supposed to be cool, it's supposed to be an abomination, so I tried yet again, and I leaned heavily into the Yeti motif, ultimately putting it in a pose that resembles the infamous walking Bigfoot shot. I raised the fur on its claws higher so it wouldn't brush up against the snow like how the real design does, which gives away the fact that it's Crabominable and not real Bigfoot. And I made its silhouette look bipedal so if trainers caught a glimpse of it, they would think it's the real deal. So now his face, instead of trying to look cool, has more real crab attributes like the popped out eyes, but also keeping the same face as Crabrawler. Its expression, however, is now scared and just wants to be left alone since so many people come to the mountains to try hunt it. Poor Crabominable. Alright guys, these are the redesigns. Let me know what you think of them. I understand not everyone will like them, and that's okay. It's just my take on them and I'm no one special. I might have taken things away that you love from the original designs, but hopefully you liked at least one of them. And if you did, let me know in the comments below, or tell me what you would have done differently. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's to remember that first designs won't always come out the way you'd like. Enamorus and Crabominable were prime examples. After the first designs didn't look right, I was ready to just throw in the towel. But I persevered, and I'm really happy with them now. Nothing will be perfect the first time around, but failing, re-evaluating, and redoing is what will make you the great artist I know you can be. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'd appreciate if you guys left a like. It would let me know that you'd want to see more of this type of content. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and join the CuriousChaos Discord server, where you can meet other aspiring artists that will happily help you develop your skills. Lastly, don't forget to visit the FlexiSpot link below to step up your desk game, your productivity, but most importantly, your health. Alright, that's all from me guys. Until next time.